Formula One, like any sport, is a game of chance and taking risks. But investors take calculated risks. They're going to need to know exactly what they're buying into. So what could a potential investor find in the F1 treasure chest?
Formula One is worth roughly 10 to 12 billion. That figure is made up of all the Formula One's assets, whether it's ticket sales, the sponsorship deals that run throughout the sport, there's the fees that the circuit pays to actually host the races, there's the paddock club, there's the TV rights, which is another big one. But as with any number and valuation, it's really just a guide. In terms of the people who would actually buy into Formula One, I think it would have to be a group of investors. Maybe from China, there are some rumours about people from there wanting to invest, but I doubt they will ever have total control of the sport. Bernie, who's very much the ringleader at the moment, wouldn't want any one entity to control too much of the sport.
And it's the global reach of F1 that's one of its biggest selling points for broadcasters and perhaps for an investor too.
It was a light bulb moment when Michael Schumacher came into Formula One. He went into the series like a hero and he won the races and he became world champion, and this was really the step in Formula One for RTL. So RTL is one of the biggest rights holders in Formula One. They're paying probably millions per season to cover the races, and it's definitely quite similar to like Olympic Games or World Cup in football. So it's a series that makes sense. Formula One is definitely one of the high rollers, and every Sunday we have people watching the races.
It's not only coverage on TV that promotes F1, its profile is raised through magazines, newspapers and online. So how do the press value the sport?
We put on content from Formula One to MotoGP, Rally, whatever it is, but every single time it's Formula One content, it always gets the most reads because I think it divides opinion, and it is the pinnacle of the sport. No matter what anyone says, it is the #1 category in the sport.
In terms of value, Bernie would place F1 at Mayfair, an expensive but solid investment as long as people land on it. But would potential investors agree, and would it be worth the risk?
I think the biggest problem at the moment for anyone valuing Formula One is what is it? Is it really a consumer-oriented sport, which I think most people watching it think of it as, or is it a technology proving ground for motor manufacturers? I think it needs to be the former, but I'm not sure that Formula One really knows what it is. I think anybody who wants to buy a sporting asset has to think very strongly about the brand. If I take the example of when I was chairing Liverpool Football Club, the Premier League has an enormous global audience, all of which are interested in the Premier League, but their allegiance is to Liverpool or Manchester United or Chelsea or Arsenal or whoever, not to the Premier League. And I think it's much the same in Formula One. You've got kind of competing brands within the same entity, which is important for any owner of Formula One to understand.
So at first glance, any potential investor in F1 could be in for a lucrative payday. But who'll roll the dice in 2016 to either reap the dividends or get stung by the banker?